So how to turn your reading into a fun adventure, a friendship adventure, a reading adventure, how to get out there with what you're reading and to let it soak into your life and to bring more adventure in. I've been thinking about that, and I talked it through with one of my first friends on BookTube, the lovely Julie over at Bookish Travels. I think me and Julie are quite similar in certain ways. We both love being out and about filming. We both love finding adventures around us. So me and Julie, we got our heads together and we decided to come up with a friendship challenge all around that idea of taking your reading out on an adventure. And today is the first upload of our reading adventures. So the premise, I found a phrase or a sentence in the book that I was reading and gave it to Julie as inspiration for her adventure. She chose a sentence back from the book she was reading to challenge me to find an adventure around it. And we've had a month to film our adventure, to find the story, to find the adventure, to find the quest, and we've been out and about. So I'll leave links to Julie's channel because she'll have an adventure up as well. So what book was I reading when we came up with this scheme? I was reading The Italian by Anne Radcliffe. So I read this in January and absolutely adored it. It was part of my Ben Reads Good challenge. The January challenge was read a book written by somebody with the name Anne or with the name Anne in the title, Annuary. So The Italian it was, and I found a brilliant phrase in here which I gave to Julie. So if you go to Julie's channel, you will see an adventure for this phrase. It was her wish to retire hither as to a sanctuary, which was not only suitable to her particular circumstances, but especially adapted to the present state of her spirits. So, sanctuaries. I still haven't seen Julie's video yet, so I wonder what she will find for that one. Now, Julie was reading this book. It's Rice Bowen's Where the Sky Begins. So, the sentence that Julie sent to me was this one. Josie Banks' favourite part of the day was when she walked to work down Mile End Road at 8:30 every morning. That was when the street sprang to life around her. So an 8:30 walk to work where the world comes to life. So for me, as a single mom for my 3 kids, 8:30 in the morning for me is school run time, and boy oh boy does the world spring to life around me and the streets become full of life in school run time. Anybody that's tried to drive past a school when it's school run will know that. So in my mind I read that sentence and I went straight to school runs, and I thought about all the school runs that I've done at different schools as a mom, and I thought I could revisit some of my school runs, but I wanted to find an adventure in it. I wanted to find a story. I wanted to make a connection. So I started researching some of my school runs. I found a connection. I found a story. So my 8:30 every morning when the world springs to life story centres around school runs, and I hope you enjoy it. So for me currently, my current school run is down this road with Anne Hathaway's cottage in Stratford-upon-Avon. I drive past this cottage 4 times a day and often will bring a book to come and sit by this brook looking over into the cottage gardens. It is a beautiful place to sit and read Shakespeare, to listen to the water and to look at the actual road where stories of old took place, where Shakespeare walked to woo his wife. And today it was no different. It was beautiful. a warm February sun promising spring just around the corner. I feel so lucky to live near these places, and for this to be my school run, it's just been really incredible. I always feel like turning the corner into this road does feel really special. It feels like a time warp. It feels like stepping back in time. And although not as busy as Julie's quote, my 8:30 walk up this road did very much feel like stepping into a novel, with the church bells ringing in the distance. The first time I'd come to this place a year ago, the orchard in the gardens here are all in blossom, now just mistletoe on show. We're waiting for the blossom to come in, but the blue skies whisper of spring just around the corner, and the snowdrops definitely herald the way to warmer days. I love this place so much. I have a yearly pass, and I often come just to sit in this garden to read. So what was springing to life around me? Not only the garden and snowdrops and signs of spring, but also the memory of a romance, of a love affair coming to life. The love affair of Shakespeare and Anne Hathaway, which would have happened in this very cottage. It's a cottage not only full of the story of Anne Hathaway and her romance with Shakespeare, but also of other strong women like Mary Baker, who you can see in the pictures here in the parlour. Mary Baker was the first custodian of the cottage, still living here in 1892 when the Shakespeare Trust took over the cottage. Mary Baker really was something else. She got everybody to sign the visitors book whether they wanted to or not. Here the guide showed me the signature of Charles Dickens, and it just made me want to cry. And she was not adverse either to a few dodgy dealings to make money. This old wooden bench is missing chunks of wood due to Mary hacking off pieces and selling them as original pieces from Shakespeare's furniture. However, when tested, this bench was seen to be not of the right period. It isn't known quite how many benches Mary got through. Now, the upstairs wouldn't have existed in Anne Hathaway's time. The upstairs was a later addition, but as you come up the stairs, you can see some really important things in here, mostly the Hathaway bed, which is a late 16th century tester bed, or a bed with a canopy. It was given to the Hathaway family by Shakespeare's granddaughter Elizabeth Barnard, and it was the single item that William Shakespeare left to Anne in his will on his death. People often assume that the fact he just left her one bed didn't say a lot for the way he loved her, but beds were incredibly expensive in that time. Do I think it was a love story between the two of them? I think it was, but I do think that Shakespeare was incredibly selfish. He left Anne for a lot of her life to pursue his dreams and his goals, but she was over 8 years older than him, which is incredibly rare to happen in that day and age. So I think there was a love story. So from my current school run on this road that wakes up at 8:30 in the morning, I'm going to head back to an older school run with the memory of my children a lot smaller. This car park next to a tennis club and next to a park. There is this video already on my channel about the end of my children's primary school days. I absolutely adored this school run with my son, and with little hands holding mine. Those days are gone now. So revisiting this school run and this park and trees where we would grab croissants in the morning and the field that we would run around playing hide and seek on, this is a real blast from the past. Now I'm doing it on my own. The painting's still there on the metal box, but the children on the school patrol road signs are no longer my children. They are the memories of my children little. So I drove from Stratford to Inkbarrow and just absolutely got lost in nostalgia. This hedge, just not any old hedge, this the hedge where we would spot spiders' webs on dewy mornings. And here is the last primary school that my kids ever went to. Oh my goodness me, how quick they grow up. I can see all of the yellow school jumpers in my mind's eye, and waiting up this little side avenue here, waiting for the bell to ring. But I'm not just here on a nostalgia trip, although that is really wonderful. But no, I found a link between my school runs, my roads where life springs into action at 8:30 in the morning, as the quote that Julie gave me says. The link between this school run and my current Stratford school run is centred around this building, the Old Bull pub just round the corner from the school, which I'll come back to in a little while. But first we're just going to go past the pub and we're going to visit St Peter's Church in Inkbarrow, which is amazing. And again, I am on a nostalgia trip. This is the church that the kids would walk down to for all their concerts and their special services. This is an amazing church, built in the 12th century, possibly built on a Saxon burial mound as well. It's really incredible with its 3-storey tower and its main entrance here, which you can see is surrounded in gargoyles. Isn't that amazing? You've got grotesque human heads drinking out of leather bags, and this one here looks like a Sheila and a gig to me. I am probably wrong, but I think it does. It is the most stunning ancient church, and it's got an incredible history. We know for certain that Charles I attended this church on the 10th of May 1645. We know that because he left his maps behind. He slept in the rectory across the road from the church, and Cromwell was so cross with the vicarage for housing Charles that he burnt the vicarage down. Now you can see inside the church there are tombs to local landowners. But where is the connection between this school run and the last school run? Well, if we look in the stained glass window here, we can see a connection beginning. We have the bard himself in the windows of the church, because there is a history that links Shakespeare not only to my Shottery school run in Stratford, but also to this school run in Inkbarrow. And to explain that connection, I'm going to walk back up the road past these gnarly trees, aren't they? Fantastic graveyard trees, back to the Old Bull pub. We're going to go in and we're going to have a nice warm cup of coffee. So this is one of the most incredible old pubs I've ever been in. It dates back to the 1600s. It's also very haunted. They have a resident ghost that makes all the glasses rock. The cleaner won't stay in the building by herself. In fact, I was told she dropped her job down from a 5-day week to a 4-day week to make sure she was never on her own in the building. But apart from it being haunted, it is also the pub that inspired the pub in BBC Radio 4's long-running series, The Archers. This is The Archers pub. Isn't that incredible? But where does it link with my school run back here in Stratford? Well, the Old Bull is the pub where Shakespeare stayed overnight when he walked from Stratford to Worcester to get his marriage licence to be able to marry Anne Hathaway. I just couldn't believe that coincidence between my two school runs. It seems like my roads that I have walked on my 8:30 World Waking Up walks have been the same roads that Shakespeare's walked. And just like Josie Banks in the quote that I was given to inspire this adventure, these walks with my kids with me have truly been some of my favourite parts of these days. 8:30 every morning when the street springs to life. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching adventure number 1. Adventure 2 coming soon.